Me, Myself, and I Multiplicity by Drake Bailey. 1. Me by definition a singularity. Or must it be more a composite of my definition of self with I added? 2. Myself, again less than the more personal me, yet as such my public presentation of me. Thus what I see is myself and would have others believe the same. The persona of an intellectualization of the manner in which I feel others identify me. 3. I, the most personal part of anyone's being. The core portion going right to the place where you live, all protections stripped away, and where nothing is hidden. Generalities, all. 4. Differential concepts of attentions and distractions. The question of absolutes breaks through into your particular mendacity just far enough to be a cause for a pause, and you start to wonder. What if? Attention variations, the warm fuzzies, social engagements, and yet, maybe nothing at all? Are pretty simply employing coyness in order to be engaging, and does the same apply to you? Good enough looking to be here, and employing specific charms according to who I am engaging? 5. Zero-sum game, 1 to 1 equals 0 more correct than most will ever know. How? A truth statement has to have 3 components, of these 4 are present here. You minus yourself equals nada. If true, then is there a real me, and how does that work? 6. In true math there are only 2 functions identifiable, addition and subtraction. Read number 5 again. Then restart at number 4. Conceptual games, as in the games people play. You are adding any of those involved in your agenda and adding in yourself. Intellectually this then will only leave you. Is it beginning to feel cold and lonely out there yet? It should. In the words of Yoda, you will be. 7. Now what, nobody home? The question arises of exactly how any concept can offer valuation if that zero-sum game is real. In what manner must I adapt in order to be without impact? All lights are on, and nobody is home? 8. What the fuck? Just exactly how did I get to where I'm not and never was? How is it that I am and am not at the same time? As we are a part of a greater entity, then how is it that I believe that I am? Have you become a rudderless ship adrift upon a sea of variables? Just floating along without any direction. The icing on the cake is that you suddenly realize you now have no identity of your own. Just a part of the greater. Where is the saving grace in any of that? 9. Wrong. Ever hear of false prophets? Forget the intellectualizing of any of these ideas, it is not possible. Why? Simple, those who can, do. Those who can't, teach. After digesting that, start thinking in terms of realities. Forget all the BS these gurus that all say the same things concerning your position and condition in relation to the Creator and creation have said. Everyone has been lied to, or, the super thinkers have no idea. Pick one, as each is just as accurate as the other. Yes, I say this openly, and no, there is no justification for misleading an innocent. 10. Unified clarity. Unification allows you to know that, yes, you are a part, but not subject to the loss of identity by close association with the Creator. Clarity is the impact of unification in conjunction with you, as the 3-part being as designed and designated by our Creator. Thus you follow the basic reason for the fact that everyone's fingerprints are different. The promise stated clearly in the Bible and other writings stipulating that you are pros, together with, but, and yet, distinctly independent of. Got a Greek concordance? You will need one in order to look that one up. Point of order, in order to make things clear, I refuse to do your homework for you. You will need several texts and books in order to know I am not another like all the rest. Do not take my word for things, look them up yourself. In sociology you will find various reference to social structure. The true reference deals with all socialization, business, or any other situation where 2 or more people come together. Social interactions have 1 or more structures, etc. 11. Where do I need to get to? A very open question unless you are dealing with I. Conditions dealing with I disallow all social structure. Here you are absolutely alone and just as naked as the day you were born. If, and only if, you can clear your mind can you progress. Yeah, not nice, just the truth. Time to take out the trash, turn off all the junk mail running around in your head. This is all up to you. The requirements are simple. A quiet place, location where there will be no interruptions. This includes people, noises, and anything outside of you that will try to get your attention. the ability to not think of anything other than a single item or idea. Transient meditation will help you accomplish this goal. Do not go any further without becoming an adept at this procedure. In doing so you will fail. Do this right or do not get results. Willingness to invest whatever time it takes is critical if you wish to succeed. The time will vary according to the individual. This part gets you to the real you. The next section is one of action. Be ready to do as it states. 12 Basics. Meditation has been listed, but there are a great many other facets involved in this. As you start getting into yourself, you will begin to see things and experience things that should have been your basis to start with. After going into your trance state to the point you are only aware of the inside of your mind, then you are ready to experience reality as never before. You will see a light. You will need to move towards it. See this as best you can. Just as any picture you can get in your head, see yourself moving towards this light or glow, as the case may be. What you will find is that the closer you get, the more defined that light becomes. At the same time you will see it as getting smaller and keeping its distance. Continue towards it while attempting to reach out for it at the same time. This will take some practice if you are a novice. Practice, practice, practice. Never quit trying. Know that the more adept you become, the closer you get to that light. Some have heard that we are to strive for the perfection. This is exactly what this exercise does. Only this time you are making progress in reality. 13 Clarity. After mastering the exercise above by becoming as fully adept as you can, you are ready for the second part of this. This time you are to go to your full meditation condition and look around to be sure you are where you need to be, seeing the inside of your mind. It presents itself in many different ways. You may see a night sky, a sphere of darkness, or maybe just nothing at all. Instead of chasing the light, this will be different. Picture you sitting wherever, but go to the point of getting a clear image of you sitting. See yourself as realistically as you can, note the clothes you are wearing by seeing yourself dressed that way, and get as clear a picture as you can. Turn away from yourself and look at the wall across from where you are sitting. Do you remember what was on the other side of that wall? If not, go take a look. Look out far enough into the yard to know what to expect if you were to be out there. Go back, sit down, and return to the trance state. Get to where you can see the room again. Now you are to get up and walk over to the wall across from you. This time, do not stop at the wall, but step outside. You should find yourself standing next to the outside of that wall. Look around to know where you are at, seeing the same things you saw when you went and looked. Turn around and go back through the wall, across the room, and turn around, sitting back down on your own lap. Practice, practice, practice. You must become adept at this as well. To be clear, this is not your imagination, rather a new reality. This is called astral projection or astral travel. I have separated this into several numbered sections in order to present primary concepts and ideas each of you will need if you wish to be efficient in this effort. Reread any of these numbered references in order to get the content and be able to take definitive action on that content. Critical note: do not try to shorten the processes that have been explained in this, as the results can be dangerous. 14 Concepts. All concepts are simply an idea. However, when getting into the meat of concept, it will always be tempered with a critical factor known as perception. In order to offer a solid explanation of perception, the parts of it have to be included, and there are as many of those as there are people, entities. Man is a three-part being: body or physiology, soul or life force, and spirit. This is a compilation of all belief systems and sciences known and some that are not. This is not open for discussion, as that it would be another attempt to intellectualize, just as has been done with all belief systems. Man believes that he is superior, thus man has decided that he knows better than our Creator, and we therefore have differing belief systems and denominations. Just that simple. An individual's perception is only limited by imagination. No one will explain everything dealing with how everything works. Why? No one is the creator and thus cannot know how many things are done or accomplished. Man makes excuses of Big Bang Theory and other guesswork to justify our limited thoughts dealing with this. I will bring to all who can understand a concept of the reality known as perception. I offer a concept of my own that has proven valid over my years of research into these subjects. Because of the complexity of the content, Whenever more than one complex subject is combined with another or more than two, I will refer to this as a simplex. The idea of or an application may be simple, although the details of them may be extraordinarily complex. In order to understand to the point of being able to accomplish the goal, the application will remain as simple as can be made to be. Yes, some details are important, however, it will be found that progress is much more desirable than spending a lifetime studying. Perception is entirely up to the individual, so long as the individual is willing to follow instructions. In order to be able to instruct, you must know the subject. The most absolutely important item in the whole of existence can be hidden right in front of your face if you do not know what it is. Perception is the manner in which and by which you understand any given concept. A tactical plotting board used by the Navy is made of clear plexiglass. Seen from one side, it presents certain specific information. When looked at from the other side, a differing set of information. The same is true from within a person's mind. You can see in a new way when looking around. Open your eyes and the perspective changes. Thinking of looking from inside your mind to the outside of your head gives another perspective. So, then what exactly is real? How do you tell the difference? Is there any proof of any of these things? I offer that anyone can prove to themselves the reality of such experiences by simply observing. Remember, you took a look outside to see what was there. So now know that a cat, dog, or person just might wander into that very same area. Stop right there and go take a look-see. After you find this reality experientially, a new reality unfolds. After reading all this to the point it is fully understood and in practice, you will find that perception has been an integral part of the whole. Perception is yours alone. You will need to open your mind in order to grasp the fullness of the idea. Know that no one practicing this is any danger of any kind. When you got to this level, your insurance policy kicked in. The Creator states clearly that no one will be given any burden too great for them to bear. Anyone think that our Creator would leave us to fend for ourselves, especially when we probably do not know what we are doing? Anyone leave a small child to fend for itself? More on that later. If you can do, our Creator says go for it. The simple idea of a God protecting you is awesome, so what if that were written down somewhere? Might want to read your Bible. It is in there, along with many principles, laws, and promises. Now you have become a Superman of Green Lanterns, a real-time super-capable human being. Next time you go outside yourself, outside through the wall, try it, you'll like it. Just as with the rest of these extraordinary experiences, try flying. You just sort of go. Think of being able to fly around the moon or any other place that is interesting. Been to any of those beautiful cities we have in all those foreign cities? So go already. You will find very few limitations on flying. The moon is just to get your curiosity going. Can you think of other planets to visit? 15. The Matrix. Anyone who has not seen that movie, see it. Reason being that a lot of information dealing with everyone's current situation is contained in that movie. We are in a matrix. There are two kinds of matrix. The one you see in the movie is outside of the existence of those involved. They have to be inserted. The one we live in is different. We are already in it and as such an integral part of it. Thus, just as in the movie towards the end, we are almost unlimited in what we can do. In short, we decide almost everything. As we exercise our abilities, we can then become as we know we should have always been. This goes to decision. 16. Combination locks. May have dealt with combination locks usually in school. Turn right several times to clear. Turn R to the first number. Turn left past the number and continue until you come to it a second time. Turn R to the last number and open it. Most can handle this simply enough. You hold the combination to everything so long as you understand the application. You are exactly where you have decided to be. No one can escape their decision of being. You set the conditions, limitations, and situations of your life. How? Deciding that you are a certain way, etc. Each and every last detail of all of your life was and has been decided by you. You have been given most of what is required to know how to decide. The combination of action, belief, and pictures defines the how of that. And yet there is more, a lot more. Some of the combinations are already set. This is the hierarchy we know as heaven and its occupants. Many of the things we have been taught and schooled in are outright lies. Most of the dealings with everything has been perverted through aspirations to power and the greed for riches. The combination has been locked away from us, out of our reach. This was done knowingly by the very same people we trust to be honest in their dealings with all of us. Within the many archives are all those secrets that were come across in the many wars, travels, and expeditions the many churches undertake. I managed to access several of these hidden secret vaults over the years I was looking for the truth. Yes, I had a lot of help in gathering this knowledge, and even so was told not to put it out. They do not want you to know. If most people could do what the churches are supposed to do, would anyone need them? Think of being able to heal, cure disease, and even maybe raise the dead. Would anyone have need of the preachers and churches? Those who do these things, do so because they believe they can. Knowing these little-known sciences gives no more ability than one who simply knowingly believes they can do so. Decisions are critical to all of this. It is well past time that many of these keys to the kingdom are brought out to all of we the people. Make sure that the combination numbers are just as well chosen as the passwords you use in the electronic world. The decision has to be an absolute one. Using all of everything you are, decide. Picture exactly the outcome as you would have it be, a very exactingly absolutely clear picture. Decide. 17 as easy as 1, 2, 3. I hope that ain't your combination. I am sure your password is much more difficult than that. Me, myself, and I is a trinary consideration. It is also one absolute truth. So now what? 1. Accomplish everything noted and explained above. 2. Apply all the understanding and concepts perceptions. 3. Decide as exactly as you can, everything. That is how easy this is. Complicated? No more so than you are. Just how complicated is your life? Ever thought you might be able to alter your destiny by just decision? Simplicity offsets complication. Chaos is offset by structured order. The following 3 numbers offers the rest of what you need to know at this time. 18. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Golden rule, a moral application, etc. This too is a trinary, as you will see. The 3 applications of the golden rule: 1. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. 2. Do unto others before they do unto you. 3. Do unto yourself first and let all the others do for themselves. As you decide how to be by choosing one of the 3 ways to apply the golden rule, you are making a lot of other decisions about yourself. Using common sense, if you are reasonable and fair in your dealings with others, you are most likely to receive that back. Being friendly is icing on that cake. Taking as many people as you can will result in loss of customers, business, and the opportunity to do that again. You will eventually be seen as just another crook, not to be trusted. Never being one who gives, goes to the law of return. What goes around, comes around. You get what you sow. This is simple, as you can, when you can, give. Following these things is an application of principle and promises. So practicing this gives you a double whammy of impact and results directly to you. 19. Recipe equals ingredients. I have described the basis of this above. I will now go several levels deeper. First, know that we have been being played with. Those doing this are superior in many ways. They have been at this for several million years. These are the same ones that have destroyed every civilization in our past. The evidence is in many paintings that are well known. Carvings also offer evidence of the same. They are the ones who wrote all our religious texts. Anyone can know if they are near one, as you just don't feel right being around them. Uncomfortable, uneasy, etc. The 2 main separations are between the light and dark, very similar to the yin-yang symbol most are familiar with. The reference terminology used is source and void. This is descriptive in terms of the realities involved and diametrically opposed. As one gets to a certain level of advancement, you may be asked to join with us. If not and you wish to join in the efforts, simply astral travel to the Silver Legion. Those who feel that they can be independent of this will find themselves attacked. Being alone in such a situation is not good, especially when you are inexperienced. Think of having many other experienced warriors to help and you get the picture. Just as with the efforts here on Earth, there is an all-out war going on upstairs too. So that sweet, wonderful, golden age that we are supposedly headed to is not what has been stated. Those who say it is are lying to us all. This is why channeling is outlawed by the A's. At first I only knew very little, so I was mentored. Over the years I learned a great deal. A little of everything. The Creator requested that I serve as a keeper of a gate. A real honor that I serve to this day. Shortly after that I got involved with the Silver Legion. Been working with them ever since. Then one day a new group started talking to me. They asked if they could talk to a member of the Silver Legion. I said I would ask to see. Within a very short time of that introduction, they helped us out. After which I calmed any doubts and the formal talks began. They all now work together. We affectionately call them the Q. And yes, they are similar to the Q of Star Trek fame. History lesson concluded. The ingredients. Mastering yourself is not easy. Add capabilities that are far out even to someone who knows, and you get the picture. Being active since childhood is not as much of an advantage as it might seem. There are many problems very few mention. Even so, I managed to use and practice many of the skills I was told I had. Think in terms of years of practice. What does it take? An absolutely clear mind, devoid of everything but the new reality. This is a brave new world for most. Not in your wildest dreams have you ever thought that it could be. The best imaginations fail to enlighten the real traveling explorer of this new area. Not only are you impervious to the physical limitations you have always been taught, but you are now able in a knowing way. Flying? Not just within what you are familiar with but way beyond that. Just as you are no longer subject to the more obvious limitations but also even some that are truly imaginary. See Ken Wilber's book, No Boundaries. Correct application of this info is required. The only limitation is your belief. Most of all this is beyond the scope of everything you know, so now what? Concept is easy, perception that you just might be able is a maybe. The key is a combination of everything here and in your head. In a specific order too. A thought is an idea, an electrical impulse in your brain. Therefore as you control your thoughts, you also begin to concentrate. You bring your thoughts into specific focus, combining all the extra thoughts and electrical impulses into a more powerful and centralized stream. Because thought in general is a physical action, the concentration of thought becomes greater than the sum of the parts. As you start experiencing this, add as much outside power as you can, becoming a magnet in a sea of iron filings, drawing it all together. Think in terms of using that small power load to give you control over the massive amounts of power within creation. You will feel this in ways you have not felt anything before. A totally new experience for sure. Belief is a concept of perception, just as knowing a thought is electrical. Do you believe it? Is it real? Perception allows you to be more than is possible, more than is known, and yet you agree to it, that it is. This is known as acceptance. Most of everything is accepted. The reality we live in, the ideas we use, and the faith we think about. Only Source knows how it all works, no one else knows. So here we are relying on a belief in something once again we have no physical evidence of. Faith. The mental work involved in what one must do in this writing, is only as real as you make it. A lot of hard work is involved in accomplishing these things. Work is defined as an energy impacting a real object. So mental work then calls for impacts to a solid object. Our brain? Partially. Note that the exercises can cause head aches. That working your brain can use as much or more energy than physical labor. The funny part is that just as you get sore muscles, so can your brain get sore. You start because you want to know and you might learn something. After the heavy lifting you get to a point where you do not feel like you are making any progress, dead in the water. Nothing seems to help, no amount of effort, etc. The question is, have you done everything? Concentrated to a real trance state? Experienced astral travel? Learned to fly in your spiritual state? Visited a planet or been out of our solar system? If not, go back and do so. Only after accomplishing everything asked of you above, will you be ready to continue, not until. You see, there are rules in this. They simply apply to everyone, and are absolute. Until proficient in the actions listed above, you will not be able to continue or go forward. Only proven adepts are allowed. You will be reduced to proficiency, with allowance only for those worthy. These are the list of ingredients. 20 Keyshaw scrambled eggs. Now is time to put this all together in order to know the competence of the apprentice. Creation has 12-dimensional levels. We are within 3D and are going to 4D. A practiced initiate is able to do everything up to and including number 19. You have traveled through space, had conversation with your assigned guardian angel, and succeeded in a special task requested of you to perform. You are a fully active Psi person. From this point, you will need to be familiar with the division between realms and dimensions. In some cases these present as a barrier that you cannot penetrate. As a fully active Psi, you should know from your guardian how to penetrate the barrier between realms. If not, return after you can. The basis of dimension is similar in many ways to a realm. It is a place of existence according to crystalline designation. We are presently in a carbon base on a carbonic crystalline format, a metallic crystalline structure. All dimension is based upon vibratory physics, not the physics laws of man, but rather the crystalline laws of creation. Crystal ice is the basis of vibration. Vibration is the basis of substance and its relativity to its ambient surrounding strata of energy, affecting all matter. Depending on the dimension, everything we know about any given substance coincides with the matter's dimension. Each dimension has a higher vibratory reference than its predecessor. The higher the dimension, the higher the vibration. However, the difference between physicality is also very different. An astral body does not have the capabilities of a fully active adept. An adept has gone through a portion of the ascension process and has acquired a different form of astral body. This is a type of Psi transformation that happens mostly with incarnates. Therefore, if you find you cannot operate, this may be the cause of that. Assignments in this type of cases are available. Incarnates. We are those who volunteered to be incarnated into human bodies in order to assist as needed without condition. We are many in number and are only different in that our spirit was inserted in a human in order to be here as needed. We are of higher dimensions and some are of that origin. To all intent and purpose, there is no difference between us and any human. The major difference is one of being able to function at and in much higher levels than humans are able. Most of us are very distant relatives and a few are even a part of those relatives' families now, in our reincarnated form. It is my hope that that small amount of info is sufficient to offer a very basic understanding of real conditions, etc. The usual person does have the ability to access the higher dimensions after schooling. The length of this depends directly on the person's abilities. In terms of the title of this section, I hope there are a few cooks reading this. There is a very distinct difference between quiche and scrambled eggs. The recipe differs, cooking methods, and the end results. For those who have no idea, quiche is a form of egg pie that usually contains much more than just eggs. The steps involved in making it are just as different. Putting together a quiche can be as intense as any work of art, and can be just as complicated. Scrambled eggs can also offer the same involvement and complexities. This then goes directly to time. It is commonly understood that time is linear, in line, and represents a string or a line of events in an order of one following the other. In a more scientific understanding, time, distance, and space have the interesting quality of overlapping one another. One portion affects the others and each in a different way. So, then the problem becomes how to know which is doing what to the others? Starting over tells you to take another look at the basis of what you think you know. Clearing these brings simplicity. If time can be bent, then it cannot be that uninterrupted line we understand it to be. Think in terms of stretching time. Time is not what man thinks it is, so then what is it? The concept is that a progression of events. So that brings out the possibility of maybe a separation between events. This then gets right in your face, that maybe it is just and only the event as a point in time. Kind of trashes relativity when you think about it. Time exists in the base form of a stream and does not deal with time as we think of it. Chaos theory, game theory, and complex node theories are in fact the base reality. Chaos is simply devoid of pattern and direction. Game theory offers that every game has the innate quality to answer its own question of how to win. Node theory deals with the engineering portion of any and all crossovers of any kind. Because of all this, the overlap in known physics, and application of chaos, game and node complexes, a new definition is in order. But first, a conceptual overlap. Notice that we relate to many distances as the time it takes to traverse between two given locations. However, even this gets messed up and bent out of shape. Everyone has been told that a projectile travels better when it gets a spin added to it. The advent of rifling in firearms. When that was done, these weapons did a very superior job compared to those without it. The whoops came about during the first NASA rocket tests when a missile was fired in an attempt to hit a moving target. The first attempt missed badly. So it was decided that adding spin to the rocket might make it travel more accurately. It did, too much so. This time, the miss was at the other end of the limits involved. Instead of insufficient lead, this thing actually multiplied the effect in the opposite way. It was at the intersect point way too early. If you want to mess up a scientist's mind, just demonstrate that the known laws of physics ain't working. Oh, what fun. So now what? A real-time discovery of hyperdimensional physics, that's what. Trajectory dictates a specific distance and it takes a specified time to traverse the distance, not this time. When messing with the spin rate, the variation in time also adjusted themselves accordingly. Meaning that the missile had traveled the distance in less time that its velocity said it would. Oh my. Talk about fun at NASA. It took several months in order to get this down to the accuracy required to hit the target they were aiming for in the first place, but they did it. Time is not linear. Time is subject to auxiliary forces, a directly proportional relationship. Therefore, time is a quanta, TQ. It can be manipulated if it is known how, etc. I refer to time as its physics dictates, as duration. From this it will be understood that the great formula, E=mc², has to be composed of all variables. All. Relativity then impacts everything. The remaining question is in what manner, or how? Relative connotes relationship. The above gives a very general diagnosis of what is affected and in what general manner. Just as this applies, so do the specifics that no one noted when they read this the first time. Yup, you get to review. Go back and reread everything up to this point, in view of what you now know. Use that rare quality known as discernment. That additional read should offer greater and much more definitive understandings. If not, reread until it does. All hear of progressions, equinoxes, great and small cycles, and weather trends. Few know of the cycle involving true evolution. From your read so far, you are involved in your own private progression. The type of being that humanity is offers insight into the base nature of any progress. Those who are serious about these subjects should be familiar with the basics of generally known sciences of our forefathers. Correlation between then and now requires a working knowledge of most advanced sciences we now use or are just starting to understand. Only as man is able to grasp the true nature of ancient, present, and advanced knowledge, will we find meaningful usage. Vibratory physics is involved, but not wholly as written. There are too many exceptions to the thoughts involved and the manner of presentation. Each entity has its very own vibration, specifically the elements of the periodic table of elements. This runs from the smallest to the largest, and from innate to animate. The essence of this also has divisions between levels of mental activities of the variations in life forms. In order of intelligence and functions, grasping these ideas is oversimplified. The division between sentient, functionality, and true awareness offers some answers. Inanimate can actually function, while some animate seem functionless. The greater the distance between recognized life and the things we see as inanimate, the greater our inability to recognize the differences. This coincides with dimensional realities as well. The higher the dimension, the higher the real functions are. Mentalists tell us that self-awareness is a basic key to knowing one is dealing with a fully functional sentient being and not the incomplete avatar or lesser life form. This has been presented in movies as the cyborg, a biological machine. Artificial intelligence is a basic in this area. A functional memory bank tasked with simple actions, etc. Omega to animal to avatar to us. Those below us are basically in the 2D and we are at least in 3D. One example of the difference between dimensions. Just as hyperdimensional physics is a higher function of that standard, so we humans are gifted with abilities higher than the entities below our level. The catch is our psychic interface between our spirituality and our biological functions. Few use very much of the psychic ability, still fewer use any of the true spirituality. That spirituality is our hyperdimensional physics capability, allowing us to form contact and use our higher selves. As you practice usage of your psyche, the greater the connection between biological soul life and our higher selves. Everything up to this point has directed you towards psychic development, spiritual understanding, and comprehending your connection. Advancement is now yours. retrograde and stand on what you know and can act on. Think it through, reread, and review. Everything has to be familiar to you and as ready as an experience. This next part offers to take you into contact with your higher self and show you the higher dimensions. There is a very real difference between higher self and the psychic light body. Just as a thought is different than an invisualized image, so are the many differences between these two. Use of life force of the light body allows the psychic experiences. Your higher self is your spirit in all its functionality. In order to access your higher self, you must be familiar with chakras. Form, function, location, and what they do. Simply, they are energy points within your physiology. It is through the crown chakra that allows higher accesses, and your access to your higher self. After preparing to astral project, stop just short of going out. Sense your crown chakra and your spiritual self that is just beyond. This will seem as an energy or light being. Interface or connect together with it and merge yourself together with it. This is the move that gives the rest of the capabilities your psychic light being could not offer. It is one of the keys to the kingdom and allows full access to be functional in the spirit reality of 3D. Those who do this will need a short period of time to get used to this and get comfortable in it. Be very observant of your surroundings, especially any dark-looking areas, dark clouds, etc. These may be hazardous at first. Seek out other light entities to help you get used to the new surroundings and conditions. Some of the physics involved in all this needs to be offered in order to give a general basis to understanding. Vibration has been mentioned and is the best overall subject to use as centerpiece, as it is central. Atomic states vary in things with exceptions to the rules. In it you have movements, orbits, and simple direct vibration. Thus there is a correlation between vibration and all the moving parts. The three particles making up an atom tells you that the probabilities are in the 27:1 ratio, with the possibilities in the 729:1 ratio. When any outside charge or force is added, each of these alters exponentially. Dimension deals first with solid objects and their relationships. Interactive spherical dynamics is only one. Add any charge and all that adjusts accordingly. Relativity deals with the duration of the body in question, its time of existence. Energometer is an expression of all types of energies involved. Temperature, electrical charge, motion, and potentials. In relations this goes into Vesica Pisces in structural overlap that goes to inference of engenderment of a non-existent third. It is to be noted that a solid object when considered as a true solid, loses its base which H becomes another side. The Vesica is composed of two circles in plane geometry, two-dimensional. What is required is to advance from that into solid geometry of spheres. Within our limited understanding of matter, man assumes much more than is understood. Accordingly we have an object that breaks the first rules. Two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time, yet there is exactly that concept in the Vesica Pisces. A Vesica is very old, ancient in fact, and only one example of ancient knowledge. Circle, triangle, and square are the base shapes. Sphere and cube are relatively simple, and along comes a triangle. The idea of a solid is to expand or extend its sides to show a representative solid object. Each shows the edges of the solid's sides, and an extension is relatively simple. A triangle is just a bit different in that it only shows three sides. Why is this a problem? Solid means solid, not hollow. An extension of edges sides of a triangle leaves a perplexing problem. Extending a three-sided plane geometric form should result in a three-sided object. Extension of a triangle's edges to format a solid object results in four sides. Remember, in order to support the concept of a solid object it must be suspended without reference to any plane upon which a base normally rests. This solid object is the tetrahedral. It is considered the foundational basis of all form and function in creation. How? Four sides that are each three-sided. Each side comprises three angles. Thus, 364 equals 90, 93 equals 30. Take a very close look at that formulation. There is a universal key contained in it. The Masons have offered the puzzle no one has answered. The enigma paradox riddle of the squared circle. Where plane geometry can't, solid geometry can. Another society found an even more accurate representation of this that spans many thousands of years. You know them as the Egyptians who built the famous pyramids. Ancient knowledge. Each specific shape offers its own unique sound just as it sits. A shape harmonic is close enough at this point. Certain thoughts become a form resonates an energy, that energy then can be released to cause a reaction. Weirding module explanation from the movie Dune. In most things it is energy that is most used. There are several basic types of energies, some known, most not. Mankind does have some catching up to do. We concentrate most energy used into a form that allows for the specific uses designated. You started out with a magnifying glass, and moved on to more mechanical adaptations, cars, etc. Energy is energy, but is that all there is to that? Depends on application and exception. Fire, electrical, plasma, atomic, and light, to name a few. Magnetic and gravity offer ever more. Exceptions and anomalies spread this field exponentially. The reader will need to look into each of these things listed in order to be able to comprehend the technical aspects of the sciences to be presented later. For now, I hope you are beginning to know that you have entered into a higher awareness of how things are and some of the parameters involved. In the present, we are looking to go from 3D to 4D. Some of the physics involved are extraordinary for sure. Many of the combinations man has used to bond things together will not hold up to the coming shift. The ones that will are bonded in a natural way. Think of a 200-pound man weighing only 30-some pounds. Imagine what is to take place as the very basis of our materials alters from our carbon metallic pattern to a crystalline light format and pattern. You see part of the biological shift in just the weight difference, above. Energy will change in its basic physicality. Anyone wonder just to what extent our biological change will affect our minds? I will offer some reassurances. Each of all of us will start experiencing additional abilities. More awareness, better cognitive skills, and everyone is to become fully awakened into the psychic fields. The immediate threat is one of not being able to handle such drastic changes, especially all at once. This is why so many incarnates are here. We are offering our services to help those who have trouble with or in the process. The ascension will be sudden. However, we will be offering information to school everyone about what to expect. When a person knows what is going on, the great fear of the unknown is taken care of. Many people will be ahead of others and we will ask for your help. The more advanced a person is, the sooner they will at least know, or in some cases already have experienced most of these changes. Source was asked what we are to do to be as Source intended us to be. Its answer was that each of us were to exist to the absolute fullest extent we could, in existence, exist at our finest ability, shining our light of love as brightly as possible. You see, there are many thousands of different races, each just as different as your imagination can stretch. This is a naked outline. A large amount of detail has been omitted in order to present this in simple enough form that everyone can use it. The next presentation will include much more than this one does, and offer insights and information not offered anywhere before. Soul 3, Terror. No rank or title. Drake.